I watched Axell kind of like tank slap and bail. And I was like, holy shit, like that was pretty heavy. But I didn't want to like ride up, there was, 15 people there. So I kind of thought, okay, I'll see who's going to kind of take charge. And nobody at that point really had. So I rode my moto up and it was like clear right away that they needed a little bit of help. And I was like, well, I just finished, like one of the courses I took like 24 hours ago, and even prior to that, I've taken quite a few first aid courses. So, but the first thing you kind of do is you need to like check for blood, like do an initial scene, see if it's like coming through the leg, if there's any other fractures. And, I checked Axell's whole body, got him comfortable, and I'm talking to him. And as I'm talking to him, I'm like kind of observing his state, seeing if he's slipping, slurring his speech, like if he hit his head. But at this point, it was pretty clear, okay, it was a femur only fracture. And the next thing we did was pull traction on it and splint it. And you only really want to pull traction on a femur once because it is so kind of a heavy injury. And so we pulled traction the best that we could. Axell's dad was there helping me. I had my camera pack on. I don't have a first aid kit, but you use what you have around you. And we had like moto tie downs and bungees. And I grabbed a few shirts from the guys that were working around us and patted in between the legs. And I splinted his femur against his good leg, which is kind of what you're supposed to do. So pull traction, splinted. And now that was somewhat stable, we were able to, okay, we need to call a helicopter. So I got assigned someone to call a helicopter to come in. And you kind of like, I started designating roles. So someone was calling a heli, someone was getting a landing zone ready. And then after that, Axell was, you can tell in the video, just worried about like if he's like bleeding out internally, So I started tracking his vitals, every few minutes there and writing them down in my phone, and after, 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, dude, you actually like, you're getting better. Like you're going to be fine. And me telling him that he was getting better and that he was going to be fine, I think was the single biggest thing I did, even more than splinting and putting traction, I think. Because we had to wait for an hour, and that hour, if you think you possibly might be dying or bleeding out, is probably fucked up.